Imagine a civilization so advanced they could predict solar eclipses 1,000 years in the future. They built massive cities that housed millions, created the most accurate calendar in human history, and developed the only fully written language in the Americas. Then, in less than 200 years, their greatest cities were abandoned, swallowed by jungle, and forgotten by the world. What happened to the Maya? For centuries, archaeologists believed they simply vanished overnight. But the truth? It's far more complex and shocking than anyone imagined. Stick around because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about one of history's greatest mysteries. Welcome to another deep dive into history's greatest mysteries. I'm your host, and today we're traveling back 1,200 years to uncover the real story behind the Maya collapse. At their peak around 800 CE, the Maya weren't just one civilization. They were dozens of city-states spread across what's now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. We're talking about 15 million people living in sophisticated cities with towering pyramids, complex water systems, and astronomical observatories that put medieval Europe to shame. But here's where it gets interesting. Between 800 and 1000 CE, something happened that caused the abandonment of their greatest cities. No invasion, no plague, no natural disaster. So what really happened? For over a century, the story went like this. Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 1500s to find magnificent Maya cities completely empty, claimed by the jungle. It seemed like an entire civilization had just vanished. Early archaeologists called it the Maya collapse, a sudden catastrophic end to one of the world's most advanced civilizations. Theories range from alien abduction to mass ritual suicide. But here's what those early explorers got wrong. The Maya never disappeared. They're still here. 6 million Maya people live in Central America today, speaking Maya languages and maintaining ancient traditions. So if they didn't vanish, what really happened to their great cities? The answer lies in a perfect storm of environmental disaster, political upheaval, and social transformation that archaeologists are only now beginning to understand. And it started with something as simple as rain. Picture this. You're a Maya farmer in 800 CE, living in a world shaped by tradition and the rhythms of nature. Your ancestors have been growing corn, beans, and squash in the same fields for over 1,000 years, passing down knowledge from generation to generation. The seasonal rains have always been reliable, predictable, and life-giving. Then something changes, something no one could have foreseen. In the 2000s, scientists drilling into lake beds across Maya territory made a shocking discovery that would rewrite our understanding of the past. Sediment cores revealed that between 800 and 1000 CE, the region experienced the worst drought in over 7,000 years, a drought of unimaginable scale. We're not talking about a bad year or two. This was a climate catastrophe that lasted nearly 2 centuries, reshaping the land and the people who depended on it. Here's how devastating this was. Annual rainfall dropped by up to 70%, turning once fertile fields into parched earth. Rivers that had flowed for millennia ran dry, leaving communities desperate for water. The complex water storage systems the Maya had built, underground cisterns called choltons that could hold thousands of gallons, emptied, unable to keep up with the relentless drought. But drought alone didn't destroy Maya civilization. There was more to the story. After all, they had survived dry periods before, adapting and innovating as needed. What made this different was timing, scale, and what came next, factors that would push the Maya to their limits. By 800 CE, Maya population had reached its absolute peak, with cities bustling and fields stretched to capacity. Some estimates put the population density in certain areas higher than rural England today, a testament to their success and vulnerability. More people meant more pressure on agricultural systems already pushed to their limits, setting the stage for a crisis unlike any before. When the rains failed, a cascade of disasters began that would reshape Maya civilization forever. The first domino to fall was agricultural collapse, setting off a chain reaction that no one could stop. Without reliable rainfall, crop yields plummeted. Fields that once fed thousands turned barren, and the lifeblood of Maya society, maize, became scarce. Archaeological evidence shows that by 850 CE, malnutrition was widespread in Maya cities. Hunger and disease crept into every household, sparing no one. Skeletal remains reveal stunted growth, dental problems, and clear signs of vitamin deficiency. The second domino, political chaos, soon followed. Maya society was built on a complex web of alliances between city-states, each dependent on the others for trade, security, and prosperity. When resources became scarce, cooperation turned to competition. Trade routes collapsed, treaties were broken. The bonds that held the Maya world together began to unravel. Cities that had been allies for centuries suddenly became enemies, fighting over dwindling water sources and fertile land. Conflict became the new normal. The third domino, divine mandate, crumbled as faith in the rulers faltered. Maya kings weren't just political leaders, they were living gods who claimed to control the rains and seasons. Their power was rooted in the belief that they could ensure prosperity. When the rains didn't come, when crops failed year after year, people began to question their rulers' divine authority. The fourth domino, urban abandonment, was set in motion. As agricultural productivity collapsed and political systems failed, people made a logical decision. They left. Entire families and communities sought new beginnings elsewhere. Not all at once, but gradually, over decades, the great cities emptied as hope faded and survival demanded change. Families packed up and moved to areas where water was still available, where smaller communities could survive and rebuild their lives. The great cities weren't destroyed, they were simply left behind, slowly swallowed by the jungle as nature reclaimed what was once the heart of a civilization. So here's what really happened to the Maya, and why calling it a collapse is completely wrong. The truth is far more complex and much more interesting than the old myths suggest. The Maya didn't disappear overnight. They adapted, showing remarkable resilience in the face of changing circumstances. Archaeological evidence shows that as the great cities were abandoned, smaller settlements in areas with reliable water sources actually grew. These communities became new centers of Maya life. The Maya moved from large, centralized urban centers to smaller, more sustainable communities, often closer to rivers, lakes, and cenotes. This wasn't a collapse, it was a transformation, a strategic shift that allowed their culture to survive. It was a civilization-wide migration from unsustainable urban centers to more resilient rural communities. And it worked, allowing the Maya to thrive in new ways. Maya culture survived the drought, adapted to new conditions, and continued to flourish in different forms, preserving their language, traditions, and knowledge. When Spanish conquistadors arrived 500 years later, they found thriving Maya communities throughout the Yucatan, still practicing many ancient customs. The Maya had books, complex political systems, active trade networks, and magnificent cities like Chichen Itza and Mayapan, evidence of a vibrant civilization. The story of Maya disappearance wasn't Maya history at all. It was a myth created by early archaeologists who couldn't believe that people would voluntarily abandon such magnificent cities for a better life elsewhere. They assumed something catastrophic must have happened, when in reality, the Maya made the smart choice. They moved somewhere better, ensuring their culture would endure for centuries to come. But the story gets even more incredible. In the last decade, new technology has revolutionized our understanding of what happened. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, can see through jungle canopy to reveal hidden structures below. What it's found is mind-blowing. The Maya built far more cities than we ever imagined, supported populations in the millions, and created agricultural systems so complex they're still being mapped today. We've also discovered that the abandoned cities weren't actually empty. Small communities continued to live in and around these sites for centuries, maintaining temples, conducting rituals, and preserving ancient knowledge. And here's the kicker: climate data shows that the Maya were dealing with environmental challenges remarkably similar to what we face today with climate change. Their response, adaptation, migration, and the development of more sustainable ways of living. The Maya didn't fail, they evolved. And their story offers crucial lessons for our own civilization facing environmental uncertainty. So the next time someone tells you the Maya mysteriously disappeared, you can tell them the truth. The Maya never left. They're still here, still creating, still thriving, carrying forward one of humanity's most resilient civilizations. The real mystery isn't why the Maya disappeared, it's how they survived and adapted through one of history's most challenging environmental crises. What other historical mysteries do you think have been misunderstood? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed diving deep into the real story behind Maya civilization, hit that subscribe button. We've got more historical myths to bust and amazing stories to uncover. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore another civilization that supposedly vanished, but actually, well, you'll have to subscribe to find out.